Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are listening in from. It's morning time here on the east coast of Australia, and looking like it's going to be a great day. Um, Thanks to everyone who joined. We don't want to take a lot of your time in this webinar, and just really wanted to take the opportunity to explain a bit about us, who we are, why you're now potentially having to interact with us, and I think find out from you in the long term, and enable you to work with us so that we can understand how you're using the Noke locks, and hopefully continue on that journey forward with you as you transition away from Noke Pro, and then hopefully onto our Nyckel platform. So just briefly to start, a bit of an overview about Smartlox. So, myself, I'm one of the co-founders here and general manager of this business. And the team here have got a breadth of background in industrial, difficult industries, mining, oil and gas, and obviously Australia, where we're based, is a pretty challenging environment for the most part. And we were really looking for a solution for both security and safety that could target these industries. Because if you can successfully target these difficult, hard to get to industries, then it should be able to work anywhere. So, we realized that 5, 10 years ago, it would be very difficult to run and create a business like this, because the reliability of Bluetooth padlocks and battery life was really challenging. But along came Noke and others, and now we're at a position, as of the last many years, that the hardware is reliable enough that big enterprise customers and B2B clients can deploy this type of technology for purpose built solutions into their environment. So we're excited to be on this journey. Obviously, the reason why we're here and talking to a lot of you is Noke has made some adjustments in their business, or Janus International, and that's meant that as of mid this year, they will be shutting down their Noke Consumer, the Noke Pro, and the Noke Smart Lotto platforms. And as part of that, they will continue to be hosting their API and working with their partners around the world who build solutions off the back of that API. So we're one of those partners. We exclusively work with Noke padlocks, and we build the platform, which I'll show you here in a second. We build that for the specific purposes of on-selling it to people to value add across those industries and the industries in which we focus and our customers operate. We've been around for about 2 years now. So relative newcomers, and understand that a lot of people who are listening in here have probably been working with Noke for a lot longer than that, but we are very tech savvy. We love innovation. We love developing cool things into sellable solutions that can be utilized on a day-to-day basis out in the market. So just a bit of an overview. I mean, these are some of the core industries where we focus on. And much like what you'd experience today with Noke, is that it's the Bluetooth padlock, it's the mobile app, and it's the web application. Our core focus, and something that we took pride in really early on, was that we wanted to make sure that when we build these solutions, that we were sort of app first, and we focused on the end user, the person who has to interact with the lock on a day-to-day basis, make it incredibly simple for them to use that platform. So we focused on the mobile app first, and then we built the web application, which is the administration tool, which you would utilize to govern who can access and who can't access the locks. So a really simple overview here, some screenshots. Now this application is available. You can download it on the Apple App Store or the Android App Store. One thing that we focused on and is a pain point for a lot of people is logging in every time you want to utilize the system. So we're aware that some organizations would and people would use it very regularly, so they'd be permanently logged into the system, and others, only use it every now and then. And we didn't want to get to the position where somebody wanted to use it and they didn't know their username or password and forgotten PIN. That really sort of takes the streamlined goal away from what they're trying to achieve. So with us, you enroll using your mobile phone number. It sends you a one-time PIN, and once you're enrolled, you're always logged in. So unless you forget your phone number, you're not going to be asked for a password. You're not going to be asked for any other details prior to logging in. And then once you're enrolled, and anybody can enroll, they can download the app. Then it requires somebody to provide you with access to the organization, which you've got. So, we have we call them keys, which is what you would know in Noke groups, Noke Pro today as user groups. So we package up these keys. So you might have a key for all locks. You might have a key for certain locks that are only available to be used within certain times. All of these keys can have multiple locks in them, and so it's ability to easily share that key. And then you have profiles as well, which is essentially your rights as a user. So you can see on a few of those screenshots there's a little S in a box after the lock name. That means that I have the rights to be able to share that key with anybody I want just via the mobile app. But I might have other staff who don't have the ability to do that. So we like to think of this as really scalable as the Noke Pro was. You don't have to commit to implementing a complex, locally hosted, dedicated environments. It's add locks and it's off the shelf. It's on the fly. Add 2 more locks. Add 50 more locks. Add 100 more locks, and scales with your business as you adopt it more widely. Unlocking, once again, try to keep this really simple, just the same way in which Noke Pro is. Multiple locks. So there's 4 locks. As soon as you press that button on the base of the lock, those locks pop up. You can rename those locks through the web platform, and they can be fixed locks. As an example, in there's actually some locked out locks. I'll touch briefly on that, although I know it's not a focus of people on this call today. But so the locks show up, it reports that battery life, and if you need to quickly unlock multiple locks, you can swipe and unlock, and limits that Bluetooth so that it knows when you're close to the lock, so that it tracks the location of that lock once you open that lock, and reports that in through the mobile application. So we also emphasize the map view, so that for those of you who are deploying locks across sort of geographically dispersed locations, you can easily pinpoint on a map where all the locks are. Have them all listed there and easily navigate to the lock that you want. You could select a lock and choose navigation to guide you on how to get there. And you can also see a live status on all of the locks. So there's a little drop-down list there. I can see that, we've got locks placed all over the place. We've got one where the shackle is currently open. We've got one that's actually locked out as part of a lockout tagout process. And you can enable notifications, push notifications for any lock. So if you're particularly interested in a certain lock, and then you can turn on an alert and know every time that lock is opened and shut. And I'll touch briefly on this, although this might not be a focus for people, just to know that this is something else that we do utilizing it, and it is available in the same platform. If anyone comes across, lockout, tagout, and isolation, you have the ability to then place a lockout on the lock and create group lockout environments, so that you can eliminate the requirement for everybody to have their own personal safety padlock. You're essentially creating a virtual lockbox. So that's an overview of the application. Obviously, coupled with that application is a web application which allows you to manage all of it. So create the keys, create the users, add users, remove users, suspend users, export all of the history so that you can track and report on it. We know that some organizations who we've spoken to would spend a lot of time administering because the who has rights and access changes constantly. And on the flip side, we have a lot of guys who just sort of set it up once and barely ever required to go back in there because they have a defined group of people who have access and have it for the long term. So I think I'd just take this moment as well to just talk about the what you have in Noke Pro today versus what you have will be able to have with Smartlox. So all of the features and functions that exist in Noke Pro are things that we can do. So the user groups, the locks, the renaming of locks. We're always on the lookout for ways to streamline and make things a bit more efficient and for people so that the administration of the system is not as cumbersome or could be less cumbersome. So we're always open to feedback on that. As I say, we're innovative. We're constantly developing. And so, we're always building in new features, new solutions based on that. There are two functions that exist with Noke Pro today, which we don't cover in our application. One of those is the fobs. We don't enable the use of the fobs, or we haven't to date. Our view is that it sort of undermines the sort of safety of the entire thing if you've got fobs out there. And the second, and in the same vein, is the quick click functionality, which is the Morse code type signal to open the locks. Once again, it's not something we enable by default because we also think it sort of undermines the integrity of the overall solution and the reason why you'd put this in. We do focus on offline capability as well. And that's another change between, say, the way that Noke Pro operates and our system operates. We operate all locks on an offline basis. So all of the locks at all times are by default set to offline use. So you can use the locks, and as long as you've got the key on your phone in advance, you can utilize and access those locks in remote off-the-grid locations, and it would sync up that data as you enter back into those locations, back into coverage. So, a couple more things here. Obviously, for the most part, you would know all of this. You know all about the locks. We are very interested to hear what type of locks people are using. We, being a relatively new partner of Noke's, we almost exclusively have the HD locks, but we are aware that there's people out there who utilize older versions of the Noke lock. So we're really sort of keen to understand which locks are being utilized by who out in the field and ensuring that those are then compatible into this solution. I know that they all operate on the same firmware, or they have capability for the same firmware. So as long as we can get that in sync, should work well for our system. From the application side, and I've touched on this already, it's publicly available. It's on the Apple Store. It's on the Google Play Store. Our business is really focused, since we work in some very complex, difficult, challenging industries. We're also really focused on security. So we're in the journey of going down a path towards ISO 27001. We're working with very sophisticated enterprise organizations, and so we're not scared of talking to CISOs and IT teams on some of the process and policy that we use to run our business. The system's easy to authenticate, easy to get into. Not everybody needs to have the web app. For the most part, your users utilize the mobile app, and and just the administrators would utilize the web application. And we host this all on Google Cloud, so we really focus on things like latency, and we don't want you to press unlock a lock and look at a spinning wheel for 30 seconds. We want you to unlock a lock, and that lock unlocks 99.9% of the time and very immediately. So we're really focused on that usability from the end user. And as part of this, then the next big piece of work that we're doing as part of this transition from Noke is, what does the actual transition look like? So on one hand, we have the Noke Pro system, and you have your locks deployed out there in the field, and there's our system, and we can set it up. And the easiest thing would be to, if you were buying locks from us and they arrived set up or ready to go on our system. So the next big piece of work that we're doing here in the short term is working out exactly how we can make the process of switching from one to the other incredibly streamlined. That doesn't require you to go out and touch every single one of your locks in order to move it over. So there is some work underway on that. There's some testing being done so that when we are ready for anybody who chooses to switch over, that it's also the switchover point is very seamless. So that's a big focus for us here. And I guess keep it fairly brief. The other big change, which I'm sure most of you expected in all of this, is that our solution, unlike Noke's, and I know a lot of people have bought Noke products over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Those who bought Noke products, years ago would be on a perpetual license. They don't pay anything else. And some of the more recent people might be on a annual fee. So our solution is a paid solution. We do charge an annual fee for having locks on the platform. That pricing is generally based on volume and can be anywhere from $26 a year to $50 a year. We're mindful that as part of this transition, that it's we've got to be a bit more aggressive there. So we are coming up with an offer to reduce that, offer people to transition, give them a very low rate, so $20 roughly per lock per year. And also as part of that offer, enable people who buy additional locks within the next sort of 3 to 6 months, that they can also once again leverage that pricing. So we understand that nobody wanted to be in the position where the system that they deploy and they utilize in their environments and they don't pay an annual fee for suddenly is shutting down, and you have to go through the pain of talking to someone else. We understand that some people won't want to transition over to this, but for those who do, we can really assure you that by taking an annual fee to make sure that this system continuously improves, that we see a lot of great features being built out. We're building out new features, and releasing updates sort of every 3 months on this. That you'll enjoy working with this system, and that will be highly responsive and enable that support. So really, I think that's a good spot to leave it at for today. You do have our email. You can see it up there in the corner, hello@smartlox.io. If there's anything, and apologies if you're expecting a more deeper dive into this or very definitive answers on what it means for you particularly, but I thought good to keep this high level and really introduce us and what we do. But if you do have some questions and you do want to reach out, we're happy to have conversations one-on-one with anyone, find out exactly how you're using it, what the challenges are going to be for you, for your organization, even vent a little that we're in this situation. We're big grown adults here, so we're happy to take frustration on. But anything you want to chat to us about, please reach out to us, hello@smartlox.io, and we'd be more than happy to schedule in a call and have a chat. And we hope that most of you make the decision to switch over to Smartlox and our nickel solution, and we hope that we can work with you in the long term. So thank you very much, and yeah, please reach out.